We are live at 11:05 on BC, and welcome to my world. And since you're in my world now, this is our world. And in our world, we're not going to live in fear. I don't think so. But I'm going to start today by doing a little mask information. I've been in the body man for a long time, and we've used masks for a long time. And it's important. I mean, isocyanates and some of the stuff that you breathe all the time can kill you. And if you send anything to California, you got to put a warning on it that says it will cause cancer. So if you send a mask to California, don't forget the sticker, because it will cause cancer. And if you don't put the sticker on it that says so, what's the fine for that? It's like some crazy fine, isn't it? I'm getting one of these from Josh. Josh, the voice of spirit cards behind the camera. So anyway, there's a couple different kind of masks. You know what I'm going to do? This is a political mask, by the way. See? I'm gonna talk to Sophia. And I think that there's a real market for some Trump 2020 masks. So these are going to be political masks that we're going to sell, and I bet the FDA does not sanction any of these masks to prevent virus, especially. I mean, let alone pollen and bacteria and all that other stuff, which is real big, but viruses are dinky. So I doubt any of these masks are actually certified to prevent that. But nonetheless, if we wear a mask, we just conform, go along. It's safe out there, no problem. When it comes November, just get off your ass, go vote. You don't need to have no mail-in ballot. So back to the mask thing. This is probably a standard mask, really good. I like it. So you can't hear nothing, but it's pretty easy to breathe. It's got this little deal here, so when you breathe out, it'll actually open up and let you exhale. And it's got a charcoal canisters in here, and then it's got filters, pre-filters to go to the charcoal canister to take the big particulate out of the air. The deal with this, I mean, OSHA, and again, I've been a body man for a long time, and I actually thought I wasn't going to have to shave now that I'm retired, but Ann told me I had to shave last night. But actually the other day, yesterday, when you have facial hairs, if there's any facial hair, you can't wear a mask. You can see it's not going to make a connection, and then whatever's going to go right through it. And if you've painted very much, you know what it's like. And probably right in here too, if you've painted very much, you will see whatever color you've been painting, it's going to be there. So you want the mask to have a tight fit, and it's kind of hard to breathe. Actually, to be OSHA certified, you've got to go to the doctor, and it's a bogus thing, but nonetheless, you go there, you put the mask on, and the doctor asks you, can you breathe? And you're like, yeah, I can breathe. And but sometimes it's hard for you to breathe anyway. Wearing a mask like that is a little bit difficult. This is a little bit better mask. This one's been used. I like to wear something like this if we're doing Bondo or something like that. And again, this piece here makes it a whole lot easier to breathe out. So when you're breathing in and you breathe out, it just opens up and it lets it out. Otherwise, you're just causing a funky mess in there. And after you've been wearing it for a while, it's just all nasty from your breath and the moisture from all that. So, but it's got a metal strip across the top. Just when you put it on, bend that across your nose. It's got two straps, top and bottom. These are pretty good masks, especially if you're doing a lot of Bondo. And I don't use them a lot. Some people, it affects more than others. But if I do a lot of Bondo, I mean, I think it's called psyllium. What is it that goes in your back in your nasals? It's a little fiber, little things that collect all the stuff, whatever it is. That'll clog up and you can spit out the color. Enough on the masks. I'm going to talk to Sophia, though. We may be offering a Trump 2020 campaign mask. It's almost campaign season, so we're going to have to go there. But right now, that was my intro. Bear with me. This is, I can't remember his name.
Robert Greer.
Well, no, Robert Greer is so Robert has been here. He's Spirit Cars Australia, and we've got he's a dealer down there, and he's been up here. He spent a week or so with his brother-in-law and his son, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Really clever guy, nice guy, learned the product. One thing about Australia, the bureaucracy there is, I would say, worse than the bureaucracy in the States here, and that's bad. I mean, this car, just a couple things. I think what we're going to talk about, though, is installing the steering column. We'll get technical about that part. But some of the overall things on this car, first off, it's right-hand drive. I'm not sure, you ever been to the equator? I haven't been, but I've seen a video. If you're like right here and you pour water down the drain, it goes this way. You go 2 feet over to the other side of the equator, pour water down the drain, it goes the other way. Why you would drive from this side of the car, I'm not sure. The right side. The left side is the side you're supposed to go on, but nonetheless, you go over so far over there, everything's on the right hand side, which makes it a little bit different. Some real issues. Stuff used to be more available than it was now, but some real issues getting right-hand drive stuff. This has got an independent front suspension, independent rack. So getting a right-hand rack, we just had real problems, and Robert Greer actually found the rack and sent it to us. So it might be, as we push forward into getting cars ready for Australia, that some of that market, maybe the stuff can be bought over there, because there's, obviously a bigger market in Australia for right-hand drive than there would be in the States here. A lot of issues getting them registered over there. And Robert, again, has done a great job going through that. A lot of hoops to jump through. We built the doors on this car, and we built them the way we build them. But then that wasn't good enough. We wanted to make sure it was overkill. So we put a product called Plascore in the door. We've got it in the roof. I could put everybody in the shop on this roof and jump up and down on it. We've got it in our floors. So what we had to do is rebuild the doors to do that. But we took the Plascore and put it in this section, and it's in replacement, I guess, of an intrusion bar, but it is an intrusion barrier. Terminology is a big thing, especially when you're dealing with bureaucrats. So ultimately what I want to do is build a door here, maybe off a Model A or something, and drive a car over it. And you'll see that it will keep its shape. We've had a sedan go over to France that got turned over on its top, and they sent us some pictures of it. Door gaps were still great. Everything was good. No damage on no crushing type damage using this product. Anyway, putting it in, it gets so rigid that you can't maneuver the door at all. So you've got to build your door skin, get your inner door hung up already, and all the windows and everything in, get everything fitted. Then put that Plascore, which is fiberglassed in. I should have brought some over here to show y'all. Get it in there, but while it's still green, get the door skin fitted onto the car, because once it gets hard, there is no movement in this door. It's just, in this door skin, I should say. It's hard. And these doors are a little bit heavier than what would standard be. Not all regulation is bad, and it's not necessarily the regulation. Does it make sense? Can we make things safer, better, cleaner, nicer? I'm all for that. So if that works, I don't know that, I'll have to weigh if that's something we want to constantly do. But for Australia, that's what we're going to do. And we're going to really start focusing on, you guys have got a great market, probably not near as big as ours as far as the American hot rodding, but it looks like there's a lot of mates down there that just love the hot rodding world. And so you've got kind of a different set of rules. So we're going to try to comply with that and build a car specifically for Australia or New Zealand or England, anywhere in Europe basically. But if we can comply with something in Australia, it's about like trying to comply with something on the East Coast or the West Coast here. This is crazy. We happen to be in Arkansas, if you don't know. For all you folks in Australia, this is kind of like this is y'all come back country. When it's a phrase that we have in the southern part of the United States, and in the southern part of the United States, they kind of treat us like we're in the outback. You know, we're the indigenous people here that they just can't make go away. But we know how to survive, and we're pretty simple folks. But we love to build our hot rod cars, and it's, you know, the South is kind of the home of NASCAR. What used to be NASCAR, now I don't know what it is. We don't watch that anymore. But let's get to what we're going to do to get the column in here. Kind of go over some of what we've got going on in the front. This is a Ford motor. A lot of times, I would say, except for lately, 90% of the cars that we build, it may be a Ford reproduction body, it's going to get a Chevy motor. But we've just had a string of Ford motors, really cool. So I'm kind of getting used to the distributor being in the front and dealing with what we got to deal with here. But it kind of puts things a little different than a Chevy. We were just not able, Robert Spear Cars Australia found the motor, had it shipped here. It came from the States, but it had a power steering pump on it already. There is just not a power steering rack available. I don't know if anybody makes one, or just there's not one being made, or with the whole cooties virus thing going on, or whatever's going on there. I don't know what the issue is, but we'll leave that on, or we'll take it off. I don't know. That's really neither here nor there. But what I got to do, I've got a rack, and we could do, now a lot of times we'll do the rack, or we'll do a Vega box, which we've got over on the, we'll go over that 32 over there and show that the difference between the two. So the Vega box will be a cross steer coming down this side. I wonder what box we could use to do that. But anyway, we've got this already in. All I've got to do is get from over here. I'm fitting my brake right now, and putting the brake on the right hand side here. This is actually what I'm working on today. We just moved it up to the rod shop, and I've got all the parts, and we're just going to start fitting. My brake pedal's not going to work. The starter's in the way. I'm going to have to rebend this a little bit, make it work. So I'm going to just cut, notch, do, get it working, get my steering column installed. I was just moving ahead real quick, and then before I do that, I want to put some headers on here, some block huggers or whatever headers we're going to use to make sure everything fits around here. I'm going to have to come down. I really like it if I can get both of my pedals on one side of the steering column. Then you can 1 foot brake and, you know, gas all at the same time. It's nice to be able to drive a car that's comfortable to drive. It's great to be, you know, have it looking cool and you're cool and driving, but if it's not comfortable to drive, it's just not overall as much fun to drive on a long cruise. So that being said, I'm going to have to come down, get it tied in, make sure my brake's far enough over, make sure I'm going to clear my headers. I'm going to have to come down and under. I've got a motor mount, and we had some issues on the one over there, which I'll show you, where we had to move it back. This is a stock motor mount, and you can see how it comes down straight on a Ford. So we'll come under with a shaft here coming through, a joint on this end, and a joint. We may need to use 3 joints, one here, and one coming back into here. So, and then there'll be a rod end right here that we can run that shaft through so that the whole thing doesn't just go wobbly. Let's go over here. There's one done that's going to be a whole lot easier to describe when I'm actually pointing to what we did. So this is Dorothy. We went over it yesterday. Yesterday I hit a lot. We hadn't done video for a long time, so I hit a lot of cars that we were doing, just a whole lot. So get a little more specific. And Kendall, yes, we do have the throttle position sensor mounted in. We've made some pretty cool brackets going around. We got a bracket here. This is for the heater. So it's got we mounted our dryer up here. But coming down, so I've got my brake pedal to the inside. My column comes down. I've got one joint here. I've got it clearing here, barely, but clearing is good enough. The solid mount motors. We had to move this motor back a little bit because of the belt system. And you can kind of see we remade this motor mount. So this is a solid mount here coming through. Now then I'm coming under, and I've got a Vega steering box that's set up as a cross steer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to steer my right hand wheel with the pitman arm down here, so I'm gonna have a rod going from here over to the right wheel. So you'll have a joint here, and I was able to do it with just two. So I've got well, no, I haven't. I've got a double joint here. So I've got a joint and a joint, which absolutely makes me need the rod end for the rod to go through. But on the other one, I'm probably going to have just one joint on top, one about here, and one all the way in the front. So we'll kind of see how that goes once I get the headers. So that's kind of the next thing. Planning and pre-planning is a pretty important thing. We've spent a lot of time just building cars just on our 23. We built the 23 a lot of times. It's a small block Chevy with a 350 turbo trans, 9-inch rear end. Everything goes together. This car has not been pre-fit. It's just put it together or paint it, put it together. We know it fits. A situation like this one, all right, we're going to be able to, all right, so on the other one, your oil filter's up front here. So we're able to go ahead and put it on this one. On that one there was no room, so we had to have a remote oil filter, which come around, which is, you know, motor's built to go one way or the other, so we've got to kind of figure around the whole system. I don't know, do we have a point for the whole video here? I would say pre-plan. Take what you got, especially if you've not built the car before. It's not that we've not sent cars overseas right-hand drive. It's not that we've not built 32s. But I don't think we've put a small block Ford in a 32 right-hand drive. So this is a little bit different. We started with you know, independent suspension and a rack and pinion. I mean, it could have been a drop axle with a Vega box, or, you know, there's a lot of combinations. So just kind of think the process through. I've said that probably in most of the videos. Look 2 or 3 or 4 steps ahead if you don't have to back up. There was no way for me to tell that this brake pedal was going to be in the way there until I got to this point. I mean, we're not doing a bunch of CAD engineering. You can spend more money just doing a drawing of the car than the car would cost if we did that. So I know it don't fit. I know I need to move it over. So I'll pull my brake pedal off, remake my bends, move the thing over, get my hole fit right, fix where I'm not going to be, you know, so it's got a clean hole. Everything needs to be clean and crisp. And get my headers on, move that down. I think probably what we need to do, a week or two, we get all the parts and pieces before we're not going to paint this car. We're not going to make it a turnkey, but we are doing wiring and a lot of different stuff on it before it goes on the container. We'll go over this car before we ship it out to kind of show everybody how we've accomplished what we need to do. Not that that'll be the only way, but I think there's a great market down in Australia. Spirit Cars is Robert's put the effort into doing all the legwork to make sure the titling works and working with all the bureaucracy. So I think there's Spirit Cars Australia is their Facebook page, and get a hold of Robert if you're out that way. We have people call from out there all the time, but we send them to him and try to work with him. There's a container going probably not too long. This will be on it. I think there's a couple other things. So if there's a container going that way, we might as well fill it up. So if you need something, that would probably help a lot on shipping rather than trying to get it individually. So I guess it would be trigger time. We did our car stuff, and I love races. I love racing. I'm into racing. Whether it be circle track or whether it be banging through the gears down a quarter mile, or whether it be a political race. And in case you didn't know, I'm just a dirty old nasty deplorable that shops at Walmart. And man, done wore this one out yet. I was gonna wait every good political race is kind of like a drag race. You want to get everything you can out of the RPM before you shift gears. And I wasn't going to shift gears to my new hat and to my new, where's my, I'll talk to Sophia, but you can get your political masks right here. We're going to make some cool ones. I don't know what they're going to look like yet, but we'll make some cool ones. So you got to time it right. You got to hit that gear right. We haven't even got to the primaries or to the conventions yet. We don't even know who's going to be running for president here in the States. I'm assuming that President Trump is going to be nominated to run for president again on the Republican side, and the other guy, Vice President Biden, I think he's going to, if he can remember to go. Is he going to show up at are they having a convention for him to go to? I don't know, but they'll probably take him there anyway. He'll probably show up if he's going to be their nominee. I don't know for sure, but we'll see. But it'll be exciting. So I've just shipped to second gear. I got my old deplorable hat off, and I'm going to save it though. It's just for the memories. I've got 2 other hats besides this one, so it's going to get crazy. If you don't think it's crazy yet, just wait. It's going to get crazy. But as crazy as it is, there's things that are really more important, and kind of, this is not me saying this, but this is a church out of Florida, I believe. I've seen them late night one time, and then this church had a ongoing prayer meeting, I believe, for I don't know how many days. They just kept going and going and going and going and going, which is pretty awesome. So I think this came from them. It's soul winning is not a program, but a passion. Soul winning is not a lifestyle, or not an event, but a lifestyle. And then souls are the currency of eternity. So what's really important? I think today I got the end of Matthew. Yeah, we'll just do the end of Matthew here. Now the 11 disciples went to Galilee. Judas is already betrayed. I mean, one of the disciples betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver. And silver is jumping too, man. I like that. You can pay for your mask with silver. We'll take silver, won't we? But what's really important here? Now the 11 disciples went to Galilee, and I want to be one of the 11. I ain't going to get carried away with the silver, but I'll have a choice. To the mountain to which Jesus had directed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. And Jesus came and said to them, "All authority in heaven and earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always till the close of the age." So we're still in that time. The age hasn't closed yet. It's getting pretty exciting. You could almost say we're in biblical times. So look up, your redemption draws nigh. But in the meantime, we'll just build us little hot rods, have a good time. We're not going to be afraid. Matter of fact, I got a scripture for tomorrow on that being afraid stuff. So tomorrow we'll probably go to we'll stay on the technical side of things. I don't know which one we'll do, but there's a lot of cars coming together. The rod shop is starting to look like a rod shop, getting full. I was just over to the main building just a couple minutes ago. It's as full as ever. It doesn't look like we just took 10 cars out of there, but we appreciate everybody. We're going to try to stay pretty on top of our 1105s. We do truly appreciate you guys watching. If you like it, share it. That would be a good thing. Press the like button. I think you got subscribe buttons, and I don't know. I should have a whole routine down of what to do if you want to see us regularly. But we do appreciate you, and see you tomorrow.